students, last class we learned that the author was admitted in the hospital because of cold, and who was there along with him? Tizan was there. He returned to Lhasa, and as a Buddhist he said that he's not worried about his disease, even though if he is passed away also, but only he thought it would be bad for his business. Up to there we learned. So let us continue. Darchan didn't look so horrible after a good night's sleep. It was still dusty, partially derelict. Derelict means ignored, and punctuated by. Punctuated by means ignored and punctuated by. That is ignored and interrupted by heaps of rubble. Rubble is the stones. And refuse. Refuse means waste. But the sun shone brilliantly in a clear blue sky, and outlook across the plain to the south gave me a vision of the Himalayas. Even though that area was very horrible because of a lot of stones and the waste was there, but only thing is he could see what was the Himalayas. Commanded by a huge snow-capped mountain. It is describing about whom the Himalaya. Guriya Manthata, which just a wisp of cloud. Wisp of cloud means a tiny strand of cloud suspended over its summit. Summit is peak. Fully the Himalayas were completely covered by snow. The town had a couple of rudimentary general stores. Rudimentary means small general stores selling Chinese cigarettes. What were selling in those areas? Small shops. They were selling the cigarettes, soap, and other basic professions. Though day-to-day needy things were sold there, as well as the usual strings of prayer flags. And in front of one, men gathered in the afternoon for a game of pool. The battered table, battered means broken table, looking supremely incongruous. Incongruous means not properly matching in the open air, while nearby women washed their long hair in the icy water of narrow brook. Brook is river that babbled down. Babbled means flowed down past my guest house. Near my guest house there was a small river. The ladies were washing their hair. Then the gents were trying to watch the game of pool in a battered table, in a broken table. Darchan felt relaxed and unhurried, but for me, it came with a significant drawback. There were no pilgrims. So there was no pilgrims among them. Only the local people were there. I had been told that at the height of pilgrimage season, the town was bustling with visitors. Bustling means brisk activity, lot of noise. Because of whom? Because of the visitors. Actually the pilgrimage season. Many brought their own accommodation, enlarging the settlement round its edges as they set up their tents. They used to pitch their tents, which spilled down onto the plain. Generally, people make their own staying arrangements. How they used to make their tents. I had timed my arrival for the beginning of the season, but it seemed I was too early. I timed my arrival for the beginning of the season, but it seemed I was too early. He actually planned for the wrong time, not the peak of the pilgrimage time. One afternoon I sat pondering my options over a glass of tea in Darchan's only cafe. One day he was thinking of something while enjoying the coffee. What did he see? After a little consideration, I concluded they were severely limited. Clearly, I hadn't made much progress with my self-help program on positive thinking. In my defense, it hadn't been easy with all my sleeping difficulties, but however, I looked at it. I could only wait. The pilgrimage trail was well trodden, but I didn't fancy doing it alone. He was not so interested in going for the pilgrimage because he was all alone. He likes to be one among the groups. That's what he had written. The Kora was seasonal because parts of the routes were liable to blockage by snow. So in that area, generally what happens, the ice used to be, snowfall used to be there, then it blocks the people to walk. I had no idea whether or not the snow had cleared, but I was not encouraged by the chunks of dirty ice. Chunks means blocks that still clung to the banks of Darchan's brook. Darchan's brook, near the Darchan's brook. Brook means river. A lot of blocks of what were there? What was there? The snow was there. Since Tizan had left, I hadn't come across anyone in Darchen with enough English to answer even this most basic question. He did not get a proper person to interact with. That means very few people knew what proper English. Until that is, I met Norbu. Till then, he got another person. What was his name? Norbu. The cafe was small, dark, and cavernous. Cavernous means it was like a cave, with a long metal stove that ran down the middle. The walls and ceilings were wreathed. Wreathed means wound up. In the sheets of multicolored plastic of the striped variety, broad blue, red and white, that is made into a stout. Stout means strongly built. Voluminous shopping bags sold all over China. And in many other countries, and so many other countries of Asia as well as Europe, such as plastic must rate as one of China's most successful exports along the Silk Road today. So Chinese people used to use the Silk Road for what purpose? In order to even selling the plastic. So they used to sell a lot of shopping bags. This cafe had a single window. The another cafe he is mentioning, it had only a single window, beside which I had taken up possession so that I could see the pages of my notebook. And I would also brought a novel with me to help pass the time. He used to write also, and as well as he used to read books also. In order to pass time, he brought the books also. Norbu saw my book when he came in and asked with a gesture if he could sit opposite me at my rickety table. Rickety means insecure. You English? He inquired. After he had ordered tea, I told him I was. And we struck up a conversation. So there he met. In the cafe he met whom? The another person who knew little English. He asked him whether he knew English. He said yes, he could. Then they started talking sitting in the cafe. I didn't think he was from those parts because he was wearing a wind cheater and a metal rimmed spectacles. And what else he was wearing? Wind cheater, metal rimmed spectacles of a western style. His dressing was entirely different. So he did not even think that that person belongs to that area. He was a Tibetan, he told me, but worked in Beijing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Where was he working? He was working at Beijing Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in the Institute of Ethnic Literature. I assume he was on some sort of field work. He is actually visited the area for what purpose? For the Norbu. Norbu visited that area for the field work. Yes and no, he said. I have come to do the Kora. My heart jumped. Norbu had been writing academic papers about the Kailash Kora and its importance in various works of Buddhist literature for many years. This person was a writer who, Norbu was writing papers, isn't it? And about what? About the Kailash. He told me, but he had never actually done it himself. When the time came for me to tell him what brought me to Darchen, his eyes lit up. We could be a team. So who was also interested to go to Kailash? Our author. So when he shared his idea with Norbu, he said that they could go together. He said excitedly, two academics who have escaped from the library. Perhaps my positive thinking strategy was working after all. Two academics, two people. Who are they? One is the author, the other one is the Norbu. My initial relief at meeting Norbu, who was also staying in the guest house, was tempered by the realization that he was almost as ill-equipped as I was for the pilgrimage. They were not carrying any other equipments for the pilgrimage. Both of them same in the equal condition. He kept telling me how fat he was and how hard it was going to be. Very high up, he kept reminding me. He was actually reminding the author that it's quite high and so tiresome to walk. He said that it's very difficult to walk. He was not really a practicing Buddhist, it transpired, but he had enthusiasm, and he was of course Tibetan. He was a Tibetan, he was not an actual Buddhist also. Although I had originally envisaged means considered, making the trek in the company of devout believers. Devout means dedicated. On reflection, I decided that perhaps Norbu would turn out to be the ideal companion. So he He thought that who is the ideal companion? Nobody is the ideal companion for him. He suggested we hire some yaks to carry our luggage. Yaks, you know, the animal, isn't it? They can take them along with them in order to carry their luggage, which I interpreted as a good sign. So who also agreed with that? The other agreed. And he had no intention of prostrating. Prostrating means lying down himself all the round the mountain. Not possible, he cried. I won't be able to lie down. Collapsing across the table in hysterical laughter. So in a madly way, he started laughing. It was not his time, and anyway, his tummy was too big. His belly was stomach was very big. So that is the way he got another company in order to go to Kailash. That's the end of the travelogue. I hope you understood. Thank you. We will start the next lesson. Please take the another textbook snapshot.